What up, everybody? Episode 36 here of Trapped in My Mind. I'm your host, Seth, and today with me I have my first couple on the podcast, and I'm super fucking excited. So I got Kelly.
Yeah, hi.
And Teo.
Yep, Teo.
So it's gonna be a different look, and I'm really fucking excited. Kelly, we've been trying to get you on for a while.
Yeah.
And you were living in, what, Colorado?
Yeah, I was in Boulder.
Okay, so trying to orchestrate that was a little bit difficult, but then you hit me up, you're like, hey, I'm in Michigan,
Yeah.
let's do it. And then you're like, hey, can I bring my boy on? I'm like, you sure can, let's do it. So we didn't really get a chance to really meet one another. Once you came in, I just said, let's sit down. So to put you on the spot, just tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
I'm from Redford, Michigan. Born and raised here. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, and Fresno, California for a little over 2 years. Never went to college. I work in trades, so like I do a lot of hands-on work, construction, stuff like that. Not a whole lot else, man. I like to play a lot of sports.
Okay.
I was a 4-sport athlete. I had a couple scholarships, but I just never did the school thing. So like, but I don't know. I enjoy the arts a lot. Really creative person. I like to cook. Cooking is something I love.
Hell yeah.
We
That
do
was
a
an
whole lot of
undersell.
that.
You're a really creative person. Like, no, he is really. That was an undersell.
Well, I already am feeling embarrassed because you said you work in crafts, and I don't even know how to fucking mic or put up a mic stand. So he's probably up here like, oh, Jesus Christ, this guy.
You gotta get it right in the wall, man.
Yeah, well, I didn't. Well, okay, yeah.
There's a first for everything.
You said what?
There's a first for everything.
Yeah. Well, see, that one turned out okay.
No, that's
but
great.
that one, that's what happens when somebody comes over here for the podcast. The mic falls down, and I try to put it back up in a rush.
Oh, so
I just
you
kept
can't-
putting a bigger hole, bigger hole, and now it's a thought hole. Falls down. So, but no, awesome. You said you were living in Fresno?
Yeah, Fresno and Phoenix. I lived in Arizona too, so.
Why'd you move out that way?
My family just kind of had some like falling out, and so I kind of just wanted to center myself a little bit more and like do some inner like soul searching in a way. And so I spent a lot of time like in the Grand Canyon and like Death Valley in California and stuff. And my brother stays in San Francisco, so like I already had some family out there, but I don't know, the whole West Coast vibe. I skateboard too. Like,
Damn, dude, he's got
I've
He's
been-
like a really good skateboarder.
Yeah, I've
that
been
was an
doing that.
undersell too.
yeah, that's kind of.
Bro, I fuck with that.
So-
Skating is sick as hell. For one, every
Yeah.
skateboarder, whether they're trying to like look cool or not, they just have this natural vibe about them that I wish I could capture. Funny little aside about skateboarding. I used to skateboard when I was like second, third grade, and basically that meant going to one curb, lifting up, going to the other.
Going to the other.
But then I like probably in like 9th grade, 10th grade, while my buddy was like getting ready inside, I saw a skateboard. I'm like, let's see if I can fucking do an ollie. Broke my wrist. So
Ooh.
I respect anybody that can skateboard.
I'm
'cause
blessed. I haven't broken a bone like that, but
You better knock on wood.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, you're not
I could be
really.
lucky. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm sure we'll get into that. Fucking former gymnast.
Yeah.
No shit. Oh, I just have to ask. Do you watch skateboarding at all? Like, are you familiar with like Nigel Houston?
Oh yeah, I know all those guys. I mean, like, I think it's cool they put it in the Olympics, like, and it's like more legitimized now in society. But at the same time, I feel like there is like a low key art to it that like you only find like in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you won't find it anywhere else. So like the competitions and stuff, they're cool, but like I feel like it's art in a way. So like there shouldn't really be rules. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I think is kind of like a downside of it being more globalized now. But
Oh yeah.
it's still unique though. Like I just think it's one of those things that has its own way of flowing. So yeah.
So yeah, once you make it a competition, then you put rules around it. It's not as like you can't express as much.
Right.
I mean, I'm not the artist here, so I can't really speak to it, but
Right.
I could understand that.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Like it's just like they kind of trying to brand it in a certain way, you know, and it's like it's been unique since the beginning. The origins of it are kind of like off the wall. So it's cool to have it stay that way, but I also think it's cool that it's getting recognized more, you know. It's more socially acceptable now.
Yeah.
Like,
What, skating?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
way more. Like when I first started skating when I was like 10 or 11, like you couldn't go anywhere like without people, you know, calling the police or like you gonna hurt yourself. Like that was their whole like thing. And now it's like people are like, "Whoa, that's cool. Like, I want to see them land this." Like,
Hell yeah.
so that's been an upside of it for sure.
Dude, anytime I see somebody skating down the street, I'm like, I just want to see a kickflip or something. It's probably not even like that hard, but I mean, it's very difficult to me, so I always find it super exciting.
Yeah.
But all right, man, good shit. I don't want to leave you stranded. So
no,
what go ahead.
She got a whole lot, and that's a big can of worms right there.
Well, I was just gonna say, just to keep it light, real quick. What you been up to recently? So
God.
why'd you move back to Michigan?
Honestly,
Or why'd you move to Denver in the first place? Because I don't even think I knew that.
I moved to Denver in the first place because I got a job. So I moved to Philly initially. Yeah,
Okay.
So like I've been everywhere. So I was at State and I got my internship with Godiva. So I moved out to Philly. And then when I was at Philly, I was like, I hate this packaging shit. I like only got the degree because like it was unique and it was like engineering and it was science. And I thought it would be like a competitive edge for med school. So like while I was out there, I was like, all right, I'm going to move into medical engineering. So I moved into biomedical engineering and I got a job at Boston Scientific. So I moved from Philly to Minneapolis
Okay.
to get my foot like in the door. So like I moved to Minneapolis, went to Boston Scientific, worked there for about like 6 to 8 months. And then Medtronic ended up contacting me because of one of the projects that I did for, it's going to sound really weird. I worked in men's prosthetics. So
Okay.
it was like it was for like erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
So it's like penile prosthetics.
Okay. Well, I mean, everyone has that. Some people have that
so
need.
it's like, it's awkward to talk about with a lot of people, but like, I mean, it was really cool because I worked with a lot of patients that had like prostate cancer. So they like lost their ability for like, you know, so it was like a really impactful job. But so I helped on a team that like prototyped a different engineering device, but Medtronic knew that I was a part of that. So they reached out and offered me a position.
Okay.
So then I moved out to Boulder, Denver area. So I like worked in Denver, Boulder area for a little bit.
Okay. This is just a very curiosity question. I guess what does a prosthetic? I'm just a little confused
Yeah.
on what that would
What
be
it looks like.
Well, not necessarily what it looks like, but
Or what it is.
is it used so that way you can like have sex?
Yeah. So it like
Okay.
restores your sexual health.
It's like a strap on.
No, so it's like they have different variations of it. So like one of them is, I mean, like honestly, there's really no way to like say it that is. One of them is like a balloon pump. Like I mean, really, it is like the pumps go in your balls, and like the actual part that like gets hard goes in your penis.
So do you need like a? Is this like a surgical procedure?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a full surgical procedure.
Okay.
And it's an elective procedure, obviously. So, like, it's not a procedure that, like, just because you get prostate cancer, you have to get it. Like,
Okay.
This is a procedure that it's like, if you had prostate cancer and then lost your ability for sexual function and you, like, want that back, you can elect for it and ask for it. And most insurance companies, if you had cancer, obviously, they'll cover it.
Okay.
Jeez.
I didn't know that.
But so I got to like sit in on a lot of these procedures, and I mean, like, you know, it is like a little crass to talk about, and like people do get like a little awkward, but like it is a really big deal for like a husband and a wife who like went through prostate cancer and like, you know, he lost his ability, and like it's a really sensitive situation. So like when you're able to restore that part of someone's life, it honestly is. It's a really cool job. Like it was a really impactful like thing to do.
For sure, and this could be a dumb question, but it restores like the pleasure part of it. But he couldn't. No,
you can't. It doesn't restore like at the reproductive part.
Okay.
No, so he like you're not able to reproduce. Like I guess technically there could still be some way potentially. I mean, I'm not like an OB-GYN. I wouldn't know well enough.
Fair.
But like. I doubt it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like the intention of those devices is simply to restore the like the pleasurable part of your reproductive.
Okay. Which I think is important.
Which is like important for I think most couples.
I would say that's probably fair.
But so like weird job to kind of walk into, but at that point in time I was willing to take kind of like anything that was in medical engineering because I just like wanted to get my foot in the door. So
yeah, and I was gonna ask what medical engineering was, but I think you kind of make it makes sense to me. me.
It's like all medical devices within like a specific specialty. So I started in men's urology, and then I moved to, now I'm in neurology. So I do all like brain devices.
Oh, so does that explain why you moved back to Michigan? Mm-hmm. You got a job here?
No, I still have the same job in neurology with Medtronic. They just let me work from home now.
Ah. So you wanted to come back to Michigan. It was a choice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did. I wanted to come home.
Okay, so then how did you guys meet?
We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, that's
What?
like, yeah. I met her when I was probably like 14 or 15, I'd say.
Yeah, 15.
Because her cousins went to school with me. So, like, I knew her family. Yeah, but then, like, I forget where we was even at, but, like, she came with her cousins. And, like, I was friends with her other cousin.
Yeah.
He, like, my age, the same age as me. So, we just, we met, like, when we were real young. And then we stayed friends, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For,
Yeah,
like,
we
a
were
while.
friends for, like, years.
Yeah.
And we always, like, kept in contact because we got along really well.
Okay.
Right. But then,
But that's, like, all it was. We were never, like, more than friends.
No,
Yeah.
not for a while, because, like, we was just so, I mean, she was
Alike.
she was in school and stuff, and, like, I didn't really go to school. I just kind of worked. Like, I was about making my money at a younger age.
Okay.
So I just kind of went that route, but I knew she was up at school, so, like, I would go and visit her sometimes. And then one time we was up there in a group of people that I knew but didn't know that she knew. They, like, went and got lunch with us, and, like, the one dude that was there, he was trying to be friends with her. Like,
He was trying to hit on me.
Yeah,
He was trying
okay.
to get with me.
Okay.
And it was
Yeah.
like, I'm not really, like, about it.
Yeah, no, and she, like, started talking to me the whole time so that, like, she didn't have to talk to him.
I see.
And so I'm sitting there, like, she's asking me about, like, stuff. I'm like, why is she trying to ask me about this right now? And then later
There was
on,
escape at that time?
Yeah, she
I
told
was,
me
like,
later
looking
on.
for a cop-out.
Right. She was like, nah, I just wasn't trying to have to converse with them people. I was like, nah, that makes sense. I was like, okay, I see where you're coming from. But then, like, she was out in Colorado for a while, so, like, and I was in, Arizona and California, so, like, but we still stayed in contact to a degree. But,
Yeah, we were, like, FaceTiming every day.
yeah, and then this year she came home, or it was last year, wasn't it?
2020.
Yeah, but you came home she came home for Christmas, and she was just like, I'm in the area, like, we should hang out, we should, like, get some food or something. And then we started hanging out, and then she, like, 2 weeks went by, and she was like, well, I mean, I'm going home to Colorado soon, like, but
Yeah, I was like, I have to go back.
Right, yeah, she's like, I gotta go home,
I was like, I don't live here. Like, I need to go home.
And then
But we
He's
were
like, what
hanging
the
out-
hell?
But we
Right.
were hanging out literally, like, every day. Like, we spent, from the second I, like, got home from the airport until the second I had to leave together.
pretty much.
So when you hit him up and said, hey, we should grab food or whatever, was that, hey, I'm interested? Or was that just, hey, let's...
No, I really, like, just wanted to see him because he was my best friend. Like,
Okay.
honestly,
Yeah.
like, because we talked all the time. Like, he really was my best friend. Like, and honestly, anyone who, like, knew me knew that he was my best friend. Like, we were really just, like, that close.
Mm-hmm.
And, like,
Okay.
we told people, like, that we were best friends. Like, we really were. Like,
Yeah.
it really was just, like, genuinely, like, that was our relationship. And, like, we were fine with the fact that we were...
But, like, see, that's something that I feel like a lot of people, I mean, maybe just because now normalized in our society, it's like people don't really get to know each other before they together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because of how quick everything is, not because of how people are, but, like, you can meet somebody on a dating app and then you
And
there
then
with
just-
them the same
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But, like, with her, it was more so, like, we were friends for so long that, like, we figured that part out first, which is, like, something that I feel like it's a step a lot of people skip.
Yeah,
So,
that's the
like,
harder step, too.
Right.
But so, like, we had arguments as friends. Like,
Yeah, sure.
we had disagreements as friends. Like, we had tons of things that, like, we didn't see eye to eye on as friends. So, like, we figured out how to manage each other like that
Right.
without the emotional element, like, attached. I mean, still an
Ah,
emotional
yeah,
element,
yeah.
but, like, not the, like, heightened, I think, emotional element, which was, like, we did go, like, one period of time where I think we didn't talk for, like, 3 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then, like, after my cousin's bachelorette party, I, like, messaged him the next day, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, we're fighting over, like, nothing. I literally can't even remember what it is right now.
Yeah, it was something dumb, but
yeah, so we, like, we didn't skip steps. And then, like, when I came home, we spent all that time together, and I was like, I have to go home, so bye. And, like,
yeah.
And so what I mean...
he bought a ticket.
Yeah.
Oh, you came with?
Yeah, because I work outdoors, so like it was the middle of winter time. It was like December, so like I have that time of year off.
Oh,
really,
nice.
to just kind of do. I mean, I'll do like some side stuff like hustle here or there, but like for the most part, I'm just like hanging around. So
Just chilling
especially
in the
with
winter.
COVID too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Nothing was open. Like it wasn't even like there was something else to be going on. But so I mean, I've never been to Colorado, so I was like, I'll just go back and check.
You
it
gotta
out.
go. All right. Well,
I was like,
I'm going.
Right. So
Yeah, so it was like COVID
Yeah.
times because like I had to travel during COVID times for work anyway. So like I'm used to COVID traveling, and like no one's in the airport. It's just me and him on this like shitty red eye kind of flight, like early as fuck
As
in the morning,
hell.
early as hell.
I wasn't even awake.
So were you both like, yeah, definitely like come to Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. And like I remember we were sitting on the airport floor, like eating our like Leo's Coney
Because there was
Island.
no seats. They
No
had all the
seats.
seating
All
area
the
blocked
seating area
off.
was blocked off. And
Yeah.
we're sitting on this like airport floor, like honestly kind of gross because COVID, but like it was clean because like no one has walked
Yeah.
on it in months. And like we're eating our like coney at like 4 a.m. and like, and I was
That
like
airport
sitting
was-
next
you
to him.
coulda
I was
heard a
like,
pin
this is the
drop.
most bizarre situation.
Is
like,
that a DTW?
yeah.
Oh,
I was like, he's got like his skateboards next to him all taped together because he's coming to Colorado for no extended period
Yeah, it was
of
a
time.
one-way ticket.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
a one-way
okay,
ticket. I
okay.
had no idea how long he was coming
Yeah.
for.
and that was like January
Yeah.
Yeah.
this past year, like 21.
Yeah, it was January 4th was the day I went back. So
And then so were you there the whole time until you moved back?
he
No,
left,
almost. I mean,
almost he left in March.
Yeah, I would say it was like because my birthday was in March, and I left probably right after my birthday happened, like a couple days after.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was about 2 months, 2.5 months, something
Yeah.
like that.
So when did you guys decide? Kind of like him, or I kind of like her.
I think that was a while ago, really. Like,
Long time
yeah,
ago.
but like we knew like it kind of had to be the right timing because like she was doing so much with her school and stuff, and like we were both living in different states away
Yeah.
from Michigan. We were both in different areas, so like we just kind of had to weather the storm and like wait
Yeah.
for the universe to take its alignment, you know.
Yeah, and I was a little slow on the trust train.
That's fair.
That's fair,
No,
right?
and like
No,
I
that's
mean, I've
fair.
been through a lot, so like that's why, and like I was a little slow to catch up, I think, and I wanted to just make sure like the next time I like take that step, it's like for a good reason.
Yeah.
And
So
it was so.
yeah. So so you moved back in Marchish, or came back.
Yeah.
Would you say by that time you guys were a thing?
Oh yeah, we were dating.
Okay. So then
We had been like dating since the day I came home.
Yeah,
We
Okay.
literally like
December,
established
yeah.
that we were dating like the day after I came home.
Yeah,
That was
in December.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that was
Okay.
like a whole like spectacle.
yeah.
Okay. So then when you moved back, or when you came back to Michigan, were you thinking like I need to get out there, or I mean, because long distance I could imagine would be a little difficult.
It was. I ain't gonna lie, it was. But at the same time, like, maybe it's just because of how we are as individuals. But like, I mean, I like to be productive. So like, I don't
Yeah.
ever like to sit around too much and like let one thing like, take hold of my thoughts. So I tried to just stay as active as I could in any way possible to just.
No, we really did fine with long
Yeah,
distance.
like, for real.
I'll keep it real. I'll say it. It's fine. Like, we were doing fine with long distance, and we were throwing around the idea of him like moving out to Colorado for a little.
Oh,
And like
okay.
I threw around the idea of coming home for a while, but we weren't like pulling the trigger anytime soon on that. But then I was in Boulder, and like the shooting happened, and like
I must have been off on a different planet.
Yeah, I still remember getting a phone call from her. 'Cause
Yeah,
she was
so-
right by it.
Remind. I don't remember.
there's like a grocery store chain. Honestly, like it's like escaping my mind right now because I think I just like blocked it out.
King Supers.
King Supers. Yeah. King Supers. And I had my prescriptions like picked up there, like
Okay.
I take birth control, whatever. Like TMI, but like, whatever.
It's okay.
I don't really care. But so like I had my prescriptions picked up there. So like they called me and they were like, your prescription's ready. It's going to be ready at 2:45. Like come pick it up. I was like, okay, because that's like how they do it. They call you and you go pick it up. So like I'm in my car, I'm getting ready, I'm driving. And I'm like pulling in the lot, and like behind me, maybe like a mile behind me because I can hear them. There had to be like 16 cop cars. And I was like, holy shit, something going on. And I'm like in this lot, and I swear, like there's like kind of graphic. There was like the guy laying in front of the closing doors. People are screaming. There's like shots going off. And like, you know, I'm like at this intersection, like getting ready to turn into this King Soopers, and like a cop, like a full like armored suit comes up and like knocks on my window, and he's like, you can't be here, like lock your door, there's a shooter, like we don't know where he's at, like he's on the premises though, you can't leave. And like it was just a lot.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. So you were pulling into the store? You were pulling into like that parking lot?
I was getting ready to go in.
So she was gonna go in the store. She called me too. I remember it. I was skating with a couple of my friends at Hart Plaza, and she.
Oh my god, I was like frantic
because
like
she was freaking out.
I like was supposed to be in there like around the time he started like letting off the shots, but I was running late, so like I just happened to have ran late. Like,
yeah.
And he started, I guess, like from the stories I heard. I tried to like not look into it. But, like, I heard he started in, like, the pharmacy area. So, like, it was just a lot, I think, after that happened. I just wanted to come home.
That's weird that you said you couldn't leave the parking lot?
Yeah, the cop was, like, they had to clear the area first. They, like, didn't want anyone trying to, like, reverse their vehicles out and, like, have, like, a mass panic. Because, like, there were people running out of the grocery store trying to get into their cars. There was, like, the scene was just chaos. I mean, there was, like, a helicopter. There were people, like, on the top of the, like, SWAT looking people like on top of the building. There were armored cars. There were like ambulances, cops. Like the whole scene was just like chaos. And like they had the guys with like the shields and stuff. I'm probably not using proper like terminology.
That's fair.
Like
I'm getting the vision.
Yeah, right. But like I don't know what was going on. But like the guy just like said like keep your head down, like pull out like when you can like pull out, because like the way the intersection works is like that right turn like pulls directly into the parking lot. So like I'm like getting ready to pull in.
Yeah.
And that's like when the cop cars like all came up behind me and like went around me and like went up over the curbs and stuff and like let me know that I am going to have a hard time getting out. And like set up barricades.
Do y'all think like, I don't know, this is just like a random question, but like do y'all think like, because like when we were younger at least, like I'm only 23 almost, but like it just felt like stuff like this was not so common. Like does it feel to you like we're like accustomed to things like that now in society? Like do you think that that's just like a norm that we're gonna have to accept going forward maybe?
I mean like I never really
I'll defer to you first.
I'm not saying that I was involved in a shooting. I don't think I was not inside, and like I'm not taking away from any of those actual victims at all. I was not involved. I was just near it, and like just being that close was scary enough, and I don't ever want to be near anything like that again. And like, it's way too common.
Yeah, you definitely hear these stories. I mean, granted, I was young because I'm 24, right. So if it happened as often as it does now, I just wasn't in tune to it.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, I try to stay away because I didn't even know that happened. I try to just not look at that shit anyway.
That's smart.
But
yeah, I mean, I didn't even listen to the news about the one that I was near. I didn't want to hear anything about it. So it was just scary.
Do you know, like, was there one victim? Was it?
10.
Oh, and did they ever get the guy?
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
okay.
facing I think he's facing the death penalty. I don't know what I haven't really heard a lot of. I really didn't look into it because it was just like.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, it was just. I called him and I was like, I'm moving home. I was like, I can't do it. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. It was just like a lot, I think.
When was that?
That was in like end of March.
Okay.
But like,
so shortly after you went back.
Yeah, probably like 2 or 3 weeks after I got here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's insane. So for one, sorry you went through that. Because I mean, okay. I would be shitting bricks. But again,
I was just afraid because the cop, like, I didn't know he was in the grocery store. Like, the cop said he's on the premises. We don't know where he's at. Lock your door. Like, that's all I knew.
That could mean anything.
Yeah, so I was like, is he in that store? Is he in the grocery store? Is he in the parking lot? Because all I could see was, like, people running around and screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And, like, cops. And, like, that was all that I saw. and there was like one guy laying outside. And I honestly don't know if like that guy was just laying down because he heard shots. I don't know if he was dead. I don't know what was going on. Like to this day, I don't know if that guy was alive or dead. Like I don't know what was going on. So like that whole situation, like the only way to describe it was pure chaos.
Yeah.
But for him to just be like, active shooter in the area, don't know where he's at, keep your head down, try to get out when you can.
Yeah, don't do anything.
Right.
I was like, okay, like I'm by myself right now. Like I don't carry, like I don't have a gun. I don't have any way to protect myself. Like I don't know what to do. Like it was just a really scary situation.
I would just be confused.
I was confused.
Like, is this
I
real?
was really rattled, and like you think you'd be prepared for a situation like that and what you think you would do, but like you're just not.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't think that I was like involved in a shooting. I think I was like in proximity to one.
Yeah.
But like everybody in Boulder kind of was that day, you know, and I think it was like still to this day a pretty scary event for everyone.
That's wild, and I would like to think that that's not a more common occurrence that we just have to get used to, because I don't think anyone will ever get used to it.
No.
I do think, and this you guys can challenge me on this if you want, because I could be pessimistic, but I do think media or news likes to just show more of this because it's interesting. Everyone will tune in. If you see something that says shooter killed 10 or whatever, people will be like, ooh, like, wow, that's crazy. Let me go watch it. Right. And so it gets more views, and I hope that's not the case. I hope I'm wrong, but that's the way I see it. I also feel like there's more cameras now than there were before.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it's just more shit's captured, more things are talked about, because messages can just, be sent rapidly across country, anywhere, across the world. So I don't know if it's more common now. It could be, but I just feel like we see it all the time, and yeah, we kind of do tune it out. Like, for example, I tuned it out. I didn't watch it.
Right. Yeah, you didn't even know.
I didn't even know about it.
I mean, I tune them out at this point. I mean, there's so many, and it's sad.
Yeah,
it just makes me sad. So,
question back to you then, or well, both of you, but kind of in relation to your question.
Right.
Do you think, like, the news should be covering stories like this? And let me frame it up as, like, if I'm in Michigan, should I know about something in Boulder?
See, that's where I feel like, yeah, I don't know. That's something that I feel like you shouldn't, especially if it's negative news. If it was something positive or uplifting or something that restored more faith in humanity, because I think that's something that's really important, because, like, not to go off topic or anything, but like 20, 30 years ago, the world was just more of a place where you could genuinely throw some trust into somebody you didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like, you could hitchhike across America, like, at, 16 years old in the 70s and stuff, like, and I feel like that's something that is gone now. Like, you could never do that today as a kid and actually feel like you're safe.
Gotta lock your doors always.
Right. Exactly. Things like that people just didn't used to do or think about having to do, and I don't know, like, I feel like it's something that as a society we should try to put more positivity and shine more light onto things that are actually uplifting and benefit other people, rather than just benefiting a political view or a big company trying to make money or whatever the case may be. Like, because the stuff that we have to look at every day, it just seems like it's almost portrayed in a way that makes you feel like you have to watch it, or like you have to be in tune with it, when in reality you necessarily shouldn't be. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think?
You've known me a long time, and I'm not an optimist. I'm a pretty pessimistic person.
Okay.
You both know me. But my views have definitely, I think, shifted a little since that occurrence. And, like, he knows, I've been really, like, shy to talk about it, because I'm afraid people are going to, like, call me a liar, or, like, say that it didn't happen, or that I wasn't near it, or I wasn't there. Like, and I don't think that I was there. I wasn't in the grocery store. I was just in proximity. But that was scary enough to, like, witness all of that chaos. But because I witnessed all of that chaos, I don't think that you need to, like, give glory to the shooter, or, like, say his name on TV, or, like, talk about his mental illness, or talk about his picture. Like, that's not relevant. But, like, I don't think that there's any harm in Michigan to, like, hear that there was a shooting in Boulder and, like, honor those victims' names. Because, like, I think that that's important. Like, people died. And, like, I think that it's important that, like, their names are heard. Because that's awful. I mean, that's horrible. But I do think the news tends to, like, take political sides on that. Like, depending on what station you watch, like, it'll be either like pro-gun laws or anti-gun laws. And I think that takes away from like what that story should actually be about, which is like the senseless violence that somebody felt the need to do, which is all that story should be about. It shouldn't be a 30-minute rant from someone talking about pro-gun or anti-gun laws. Like, it should be, this is what happened today in this city, and here are like the names of the victims. Like, take a second of silence for like their honor. And like, that's my opinion on what that should be, because like I think that's well deserved, because that's an awful thing that happened. But like, I don't think going deep diving into the story is positive for anyone.
Okay. Yeah, I see that side. I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest, because like, well, okay, for example, if I'm in Boulder, I should know about the story because it could be a potential threat to like me, right? In Michigan, like if something's not like in proximity to my area, I'm kind of torn because yes, it's I think you should honor the victims. However, I would also hate to be, the cousin of the victim and I find out from TV.
That's true. And like, that's the thing I feel like people forget is like, you should give police time to like notify the family. I think there's like
even Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant. His, like Vanessa Bryant and her kids. I think like some of them found out from social media and like TV.
That's insane.
And that's not right. And I think like I'm not a police officer, but I do know that there is like a chain of command on how families are notified of death.
Yeah.
That should be carried out.
Well, that's not always respected because the cops could be doing their thing, but
no, it is not always respected.
But I just go in there and be like, fuck it.
But I think in reporting tragic incidents like this, like Kobe, like whatever it is, the chain of events like that needs to happen for notifying families should be followed and respected first, and then the news can take it. And honestly, I think for like respecting victims, honestly, it should be maybe like a blip of a story on the news and like no more. I don't think it should be like an in-depth deep dive. I don't think it's the proper thing to make it a political discussion because that's not really honoring anyone.
Oh, for sure. I definitely agree with you on that.
Like, I think that's disrespectful, like to use somebody's death for any kind of like political gain or like anecdote. I think that's my opinion. That it's disrespectful.
100%. Yeah, for real.
So
I definitely agree with you on it shouldn't be made into something that's not politically. But to your point, I also kind of agree with you of like, I don't like seeing negative shit. So again, I kind of feel like if I'm from the area and like the victims are members of my community, I know, I'd like to think on a larger scale, we're all Americans, we're all, we're all a community, but it's just more negative. Because, I mean, if we got a report on every death or, shooting, that's a lot to handle. And if that's all I see,
it's depressing. For
sure.
It
is depressing.
But there's certain things that I heard about that like I'm not happy is not the word to describe it. I'm not happy is really not the word to describe it. But like Sandy Hook or the Pulse nightclub shooting, like I donated to those causes so that they could help the victims and those families. And like hearing about it, like had I not heard about it, I wouldn't have known where to donate for those causes.
Yeah.
And like those people, I feel like they should have the resources, and I don't think their community alone could have pulled together to like give what they needed. So like having heard about it, like I'm grateful, that's the word. I'm grateful that I heard what I heard, like via the news, because people set up GoFundMes for families that maybe didn't have the financial resources to set up a funeral. And like that's something that I donated to, because like I felt that people like that should have a proper burial,
No, yeah, that makes sense. And honestly, like hearing you speak through it, it kind of makes my belief, like what I was just saying, kind of sound like ignorance is bliss. Like if I don't know, then I'll be better off for it. But at the same time, if I don't know and these families of the victims are neglected, then they're kind of worse off for it because no one can help.
It's kind of like brushing things under the rug sometimes. Yeah. And so like I don't think there's winning either way you go, because like empathy isn't always comfort. Like you're never going to be a comfortable person being an empathetic person, because like to be empathetic is to be uncomfortable. But like I also don't think you're going to be happy not knowing. Like being ignorant isn't always happiness either.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. I mean, it's a double-edged sword no matter which way you go.
Yeah, it's the yin and the yang, right?
Yeah.
If people know about it, they can help, but they also have to deal with the shit that they feel because of it.
Right.
They don't know about it, then they can feel better about their lives and about humanity,
Yeah.
but they can't help anybody with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I'm
kind of like
fucking
the
torn.
wizard. It's like
For
the
real.
wizard behind the curtain. Like something's always behind the curtain.
Yeah.
But like I'm a person who would prefer to see what's behind the curtain than to have the anxiety of not knowing what's there. Like, but that's me, and that's not everyone. And I respect that that's
Fair.
not everyone. Like if you're a person who doesn't want to know, that's okay. And I respect that. And if you're someone who just doesn't want to see that news because it's not safe for your mental health and it makes you upset and it depresses you and it like causes a mental deficit for you, that's okay. Don't watch that news. But like I'm someone like I would prefer to know that kind of stuff so like I can do things like donate and support the victims because that's important to me that people feel supported that way. So like that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
So question for you then. So you said that you describe yourself as pessimistic, which I don't know if that's fully true, but if that is fully true, do you think that any part of what all of this negativity that's shown in the media kind of enables you to be pessimistic, or do you think just naturally
No,
you're
I just think
pessimistic?
naturally I'm pessimistic. I think I'm pessimistic in the fact that I'm overly realistic. Like I think these kinds of things are going to happen regardless. Like I think no matter what we do moving forward, we like anti-gun, pro-gun. This is always going to happen. Someone's always going to find a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Like
Right.
I think the world is always going to have that balance of both good and evil. I don't think there's any way to eradicate bad. I just don't. Like, and that's a pretty pessimistic point of view. And people think that that's pessimistic. And like I don't approach situations always with a lot of like hope, I keep things realistic for myself that like things might not work out. So I think that that's pretty pessimistic.
Why do you think that you do that?
I don't know. I've always done that. I think I've done it since I was a kid. Just like I've always been realistic with myself. Like I don't like to get my hopes up too high. I like to like focus on what's in front of me. Just like only the things I can control. Like whatever's in front of me.
That's fair. So
I'm like it's like the wizard behind the curtain, like like Wizard of Oz, wizard behind the curtain, like whatever's behind the curtain, like the thing that I open up and see, like that's what I can control. Anything else, I can't. Like that's why I have to open the curtain. I'm not the person who can leave it shut and just be like whatever, like it happens. Like
Right.
I can't do that. Like I have to be able to like know what I'm dealing with and like work within my bounds. And then whatever happens, but like I can't control my outcomes and I don't hold my hopes super high for them. And like anything greater than my expectations is like a plus. So
okay.
just like realism, I guess.
No, I get that, and I mean I have just several questions just because I'm curious. So I don't know that this part's pessimistic, because if it is, and I agree with you, and I don't think I'm pessimistic, but the idea that there's always gonna be bad, I would say no matter what you do, yeah, there will be bad.
Yeah.
However, at least personally, I try to always approach people assuming good until I know them.
Right. And with people, I'm that way, for
Okay.
sure. But with the world, the way this world is set up, I think the world will always have some degree of bad in it. I don't think this world is set up to be 100% good.
Yeah. So I guess a question for us all to think about, because I don't know, but if we assume most people are good, then why, as a collective, are we so why are we so doomed? Ever thought about that?
I mean, I think it's like the uncontrolled human nature, You wake up and you can have a bad day, right? Someone woke up today and had a bad day.
Fair.
I woke up and had a good day.
Right.
But like someone else woke up and had a bad day. And I can't control that. And I don't know what they went out in the world and did. And like I think it's that part that like is the reason I feel like there's always some amount of bad in the world.
Yeah,
It's
I
like a
don't know.
controlling factor.
I agree with what you're saying, because it's like now you have more people that, they look at the world in a way that I feel like everybody wants control of some degree of their own life, no matter who can tell them what. So whether that's the government, whether that's your boss at work, whether that's, a colleague, anybody, like I just feel like that's the society that we live in. But I feel like there is more good than bad in the world. I just feel like the
I do
good
too.
doesn't get portrayed as much, you know?
Right.
Like, it
I
doesn't
agree.
get the front page. Like, the
I
tragic
think
event
that
gets
there's
the
way
front
more good
page.
too. I just
Right.
like, despite all of the good that there is, there'll always be that little teeny tiny
Oh,
speck of
100%.
bad. You
100%.
can't have 100% good
You're right.
because I don't think you can know the good without the bad. Like, what's the spectrum for good without knowing what bad is? You can't know happiness without sadness. Like, it's scaling. It's yin
Right.
and yang.
So we need more.
It's balance. You know, it's knowing balance.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. But the media, bringing it back to media, makes it seem it's swung in the other way. That there's
Oh,
so much more
no,
shit.
They swing it in the completely opposite direction. I mean, it really depends on how you decide to wake up on which side of your bed, good or bad side of the bed. You know.
But that's why I'm so conflicted on like these news stories. Like I think you mentioned like if you just make it a very small blip of like here's the victims and not dive so deep into it, maybe that would help. But God, I just feel like there's so much
You lose no matter which way
shit
you go.
that you see.
Right.
And like media has the influence and the power to be something great.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is, but it's oftentimes just so fucking
Bad.
It's some shit. You look up in the morning and you see your phone, like some of the stories, and you're just like, what the fuck am I living in? Like, what is this? Like, the world just seems like gray sometimes, you know? But, like, I feel like the biggest key isn't, you know, it's about how you overcome feeling like the world is a gray place. More so than, like, how you got there, you know, how you perceive it that way. The bigger thing, I think, is how you leave that type of a situation, you know?
like us individually.
Right, yeah, like person to person. Yeah.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense because we all see, well, generally, we all see the same shit. We all hear the same shit. But it is kind of down to the person, like you were saying.
Yeah.
I would agree with how we respond to it. Because
Right.
I wake up and I see the same news you did.
Right.
Maybe you'll wake up and be like, oh, fuck the world, they're all sucking. And I'll wake up and like, oh, no, that's okay. I mean, that sucks, but that's not everybody.
Exactly.
Right.
I like that. That's a good one.
We talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah, we do.
We do all the time.
Yeah, almost every day.
I'm curious. So taking it way back to the beginning, then you said you guys were able to work through disagreements before there was like intimate
Oh, yeah.
emotion.
All the time.
If you want, I'm curious. What were some were there like main like belief disagreements, or was it more like I wanted something for dinner and he didn't want that, and we just bickered about that?
I would say there were some like viewpoints that, and honestly, it's funny you bring up the Boulder event, you know, at the grocery store, because like for the longest time, I'm just a firm believer that like, especially on property you own, you should do whatever means necessary to defend yourself and your family. That's just me and who I am, because like that's your vicinity that you own.
Yeah.
And you know, I just, that was something to me that when the Boulder shooting happened and when she called me, like the panic she had in her voice, I was like, I feel like it opened her eyes a little bit too to why I said the things I said about that, because like,
It did.
yeah, a little bit, just like that. I knew that was one thing. Like,
I'm not really pro-gun
no, she's not
at all.
And
So what were you saying? Like,
I was just saying that like that's a big reason why I felt like she should at least have like a CPL or look into getting something
And I
like
do.
that.
I have
because-
my license.
Right.
Because my dad's a Marine, you know, like when I turned 18, he made me go get my license. He makes me renew it and whatever. Like, it's just his thing, whatever.
Right.
So I go and I do the training every year. And like, I go and I do the shooting and like, whatever. And it's like, fine. But I refuse to go buy one. And it's a big argument with me and my dad. And it's a big argument with me and him in the beginning. And like, I just refuse to because I'm afraid of them and I don't like them. And I know the statistics that like having a gun in the home, you're more likely to like have gun violence, like whatever. You know, you're more likely to get shot if you have a gun in the home, like duh. But like, you know, that freaked me out. I don't like the idea of it. And like, I really do think, just because maybe like my job and also because like I'm a pretty empathetic person, I really do think I could talk down any situation. Like, sometimes people really are just irrational, but I do think if someone was trying to harm me, I could probably maybe rationalize.
You think so?
I really do. In a lot of situations, I think that people that are in those positions sometimes are just like being irrational, having a bad day, going through something. Like, I try to approach things with empathy. Like,
see, that's an optimistic point of view.
yes, it is. Yeah, it is. It honestly is. But I've worked in healthcare. I mean, I've seen hospitals. Like, I've seen some fairly mentally ill people, and like, you can rationalize with people like that. And I think that if you approach someone with empathy and kindness, like, they don't need to shoot you. And also,
every single time, though?
No, not every single time. But like Oprah, like, she said it like way back when. But if someone's trying to shoot you, if you're like standing there and you give them personal facts, they're less likely to shoot you. I'm not saying it's gonna work, but honestly, I'd rather try it and get shot than like try to. I don't want
Then go out in a shootout and.
Yeah, I don't want to shoot someone. I'd rather try it and get shot than get shot. Or then shoot somebody. Like I don't want to live with that. It just I can't do it. It's against me morally. But he changed my mind a little bit after the Boulder thing, because it really freaked me
Because
out.
if you think about it, and like, honestly, for the longest time, I was like, this is terrible. Guns are awful. We shouldn't even have them as a society. And like, I am a very progressive-minded person. Like, by no means am I like a diehard conservative or anything. But like, I'm not trying to get into that. I'm just saying, like, I just think that like, and when something that tragic happens, if somebody in that vicinity is able to defend whoever's in that store in their community, you might have had a different situation.
And like, no,
you know?
I do not think
like,
someone intruding your home, you're going to talk them down. I don't think a robber, you're going to talk them down. But like in domestic violence, I really maybe I could talk down the situation.
You
maybe.
never know. Yeah.
Like, but I really would, I mean, I've never been a part of domestic violence, so it's an ignorant standpoint because I haven't been involved in it. But like, maybe. And I would rather take my chance on maybe than live with a lifetime of guilt of shooting and killing someone.
100%.
And that's,
Yeah.
but that's
100%,
my
right.
opinion. And like, I'm okay if your opinion is that like you would rather protect yourself and take
Well, it is very ticky tacky,
You know?
and that's why like I don't think there's one right or wrong.
There's
way of
no.
looking at
It's
it.
again. It's like a double-edged sword. You're
Right.
right. You're right or wrong, no matter which way you go.
Because I don't think anybody, even law enforcement, like wants to, or people in the military, even like they don't want to have to go and
And do
take a
that.
life.
No
of
sane
somebody
person
else.
wants to kill.
Right, exactly. In any sense,
Yeah.
whether it's in a car accident, you know, like, and that's why I feel like people who can think rationally, people who don't drive drunk, you know, like people who don't. There's smaller decisions. You don't even have to put it on a scale so broad as, you know, a mass event like a shooting, but like even in just day-to-day life, people sometimes choose to make choices that, you know, there is no positive that comes out of it. It is a double-edged sword, like you just said. And so I just think that's one of those things where restoring faith in humanity is really important because people feel more safe in their community. People feel more comfortable to you know, approach individuals that they don't know. But
you also have like the bystander effect, you know, where
Right.
like if someone is being harmed, if someone is being robbed, and there's 15 people around,
people pull their phone out.
people pull their phone out.
Yeah, that shit's
Because,
annoying.
but because
Yeah,
you assume
for
that
real.
someone else is helping, because there's so many people around.
Or you just want the attention when look,
Why
I
do
was
you
there.
think people do that?
I have no idea.
No, that is really bizarre to me because like it's not my first. I'm not like it's not like putting myself on a pedestal. It's just really not my first instinct. If I see someone hurt or being harmed or in a scary situation, my first instinct really is to step in.
Yeah,
Because
try and assist them, you're saying?
Yeah, but like you know how I get. I'm a pretty defensive person. I do come to everybody's defense.
I just think in general, it's just like, for one, were you not taught manners? Like, I was just,
I also don't think it's polite to videotape anybody at any point ever, especially in their vulnerable moments. And it might be because I've been there. Like, I've had the cameras in a vulnerable moment. And, like, it's not comfortable. And, like, it's weird. It's a very weird thing to do. Like, why are you wanting that footage of somebody's, like, very vulnerable moment where they're being hurt or harmed? Like, what is the purpose of that? And they can be helpful. They can be used in court for sure, but you should make sure they're being helped first. The primary like thing that you should focus on is that they're being assisted first, and then secondary is getting evidence, like video evidence.
yeah, and well, I think it's good to get evidence, but I also think some people literally just do it for whatever
Attention.
reason. But I mean,
Yeah.
and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal either because I've never recorded anybody like actually hurt, but like, you know, if somebody's out drunk, like being an ass,
Yeah, that's-
sometimes you
yeah.
record it. But
Right.
again, why do I need to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of that. I've always been like really not into that.
Yeah, and I get it. I really don't. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a serial video recorder, like, oh, look at this guy. But you know, if somebody, I don't know. Either way, it's best just to not record them. I can agree with that. But no, especially if somebody's hurt. Like I was just in Detroit, just driving around with Mackenzie. I forgot what we were doing. Well, was I with her? I might have been by myself. But there was a guy, and I rolled up to the scene late, so I don't know what happened, but he was at a bus stop. It looked like he had maybe rode his bike through like the bus stop because like all the glass was shattered, and he was just like fucked up on the ground, and I was like getting ready to turn, so I could see it while I was turning.
Right.
Yeah.
And legitimately, no one was there. Like everyone was just fucking around him in a circle recording, and no one was on the ground with him. I'm like,
yeah, that's like
yo, that's messed up.
But see,
fucking
like,
kidding
that's
me?
a situation where it's like your primary concern should have been helping him, or like if you don't know how to physically help him, like medically, maybe like calling EMS and then sitting with him for like comfort. For
anything other than just
right.
Yeah,
But
at that
then
point,
you
wait,
have
that's not even
scenarios-
footage.
But then
No.
you have scenarios like George Floyd, where like honestly, thank God someone got video of that.
Yeah, because you can't help in that
But
situation,
because
really.
you can't help in that situation, but really that changed the world. That video changed the world last year, and like I'm thankful that it did, because it really brought a lot of things to light, I feel like. But so that's again a double-edged sword. I feel like everything in this society is kind of a double-edged.
Yeah. But that one's different too, because it was like,
Totally different.
I mean, this guy was just hurt by himself. There was no like evidence of anything that needed to get done. No one was like hurting anybody else. It was just a guy that needed help.
Yeah.
That one was,
Totally different.
obviously it was good that it was recorded.
Right.
But I didn't want to lose this, so I want to go back
Go
real
ahead.
quick.
Oh no, go ahead. You want to go back? Go ahead.
You-
Go in?
Oh, you're looking at. She's looking at me.
No,
No, she's looking at you.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
why
you
was-
pointed to him. You wanted to go back to him.
Well, I just like back.
Oh no, back. I was like, what?
I was very confused because
Oh, no,
she's like,
it's good.
"Wait, go ahead." I'm like, "Wait, did he say something?"
Oh no, go ahead.
Well, hold on. I gotta find my thought. Just real quick back to like the gun thing, because I know you said like your personal choices, you'd rather just try to talk somebody down, and I think that's cool, and I would agree with that. Like if it's just me, like I feel like I would take my chances either trying to run or talk it down or doing something. But I think where my opinion is like, and I don't have my license, I don't have a gun, I don't have anything. So I mean, this is just speculation at this point. But I feel like my opinion would change as soon as I get kids. You come near my fucking kids.
Definitely. That's a totally different ballgame.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm trying to highlight
Totally
the word
different
when I said
ballgame.
even like family though. Like,
Yeah, even
that's-
family.
If it's
Or
me,
friends,
if it's
like-
for me, even too personally, because like when I lived in Phoenix, man, there was some people like that was because I've been robbed at gunpoint before, like, and it's
That's
not
insane.
at work too, and so like not even in an environment where I was in the public, like of all places at my own job. So it's like once that happened to me, it was an event that just. It completely swayed my whole mindset of how life is. Because I told myself, I was like, the next time that happens, I'm not going to be defenseless. You know, like I'm just not, it's not going to be like that again. Like I refuse to let that happen again. Like, and I'm cautious, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm definitely more so, and this is where mental health plays a huge part in it too, is that you have to have, the proper approach to owning something like that. Like it isn't a toy. It isn't like, by no means is it something you should even let other people know that you have when you have it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the irresponsibility of society now is that so many people,
Like flashing.
Yeah.
right,
stuff,
like
or,
it's a
just
prop now
showing it
more
at a
so than it
party.
really
Yeah,
is
it's not.
what the cause of it was meant for. And so it's abused in that sense in today's world, I feel like. But like you said, like having kids too, like that's something where it's a whole different ballgame. Like
Yeah.
you can't even, no, yeah.
No, that's
it's,
a totally, and like my views before I was single, I wasn't even dating him. I was living alone, and I was a single person living in Boulder. And for me, yeah, like I would rather try to talk someone down. I would rather try to hide. I would rather try to
Understandable.
wait for EMS. And that was my
Right.
opinion, because I don't think I could live with the guilt if I shot someone and I killed them. And that's me. So like that was my personal choice. And I would never push that onto someone else. But, if I ever saw someone come at him, now my opinion's different, because now I have someone that like I care for.
Yeah.
And I have someone I live with and who I feel protective of, and that like, not that I would ever need to. He would definitely, handle it himself. But if, I had kids, that's a whole new ballgame. Like those are my kids, those are my people to protect. And so like that's a totally different scenario. And like at that point, honestly, I think I would want one.
Yeah. No, I get
Because
that.
I'm not going to try to take the risk with my children that I'm going to be able to talk someone down. I'm not going to take the risk that they aren't going to shoot me. Like, it's different when it's just you.
I agree, and that's why I wanted to ask.
100%.
Yeah.
That's like those. It's like the classic action movies. You want to get the bad. You want to get the guy. You got to take somebody they love.
Yeah.
And so like because people don't fuck with that. You
No.
start.
Nah.
It's one thing when it's yourself, but when it's people you love, like sorry, I'm not gonna be so nice.
Yeah, it's not that I care.
And it should be last resort for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
You know, like, and that's why I'm a big advocate for like, you know, like little kids learning how like, and I feel like schools should teach things like martial arts, or at least offer things like martial arts or like self-defense classes. Like those are things that schools, and that's another thing. Like that's a whole different topic. But like the public school system, the way that they educate kids is so like, and I don't know how it is now with COVID and stuff, but like that should be something that's like prioritized, like learning how to own a home, like
Taxes.
to buy property. Yeah, like
defense,
financial,
hiring a lawyer,
intelligence.
Right,
I really wish
in
someone
general
taught me finances because I really did have to figure that out on my own, and that was hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was confusing as hell. Like, I'm sorry, like it's gonna sound dumb. The first time someone handed me a W-2, I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Well, not even just that, but like being like being financially smart.
Yeah,
like,
that
with,
too, or like
credit cards.
stocks,
Hey,
credit card. Yeah, okay, I
you got
missed.
percentages on. I mean,
Knowing,
don't spend more than you have.
Also
Right.
knowing like you have to, like, it sounds dumb, but like really at like 15 when I got my first credit card because I like needed one, knowing to pay the payment every single month on the same day on time, making sure it didn't go over, and that like that affects your credit score. I really didn't understand what a credit score was. Like,
Or why it's important.
Or why it's important, and I didn't understand what it meant, and it didn't, like, it just went right over my head. I was like, whatever, like, I don't get what that means, and I feel like I paid for those mistakes later because no one ever really
Same.
taught me that, and I didn't really have mom and dad that were like totally holding my hands through it. Like, they wanted me to learn kind of on my own.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, no, I agree, and I
Not that
definitely
they weren't
think.
supportive. They were. Like, they helped me get my credit card and stuff, but they definitely didn't teach me all the rules of it and all the bounds of it.
But that shouldn't be parents' jobs. I don't
No,
think.
no,
I think
I don't
it should
either.
be in school. I think. I mean,
They
there's
got
definitely.
enough going on. They work. Like, they had enough
Yeah.
crap that they
You're
had
at school to learn what you need to learn, and I think
sure.
there's definitely, you know, I like school. I think it's valuable, but I definitely think, especially towards the later years, like the earlier years, it's all about just like getting the, you know, basics,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Learning how to interact with people, learning like simple math, whatever, reading. But then once you get to like high school and especially college,
Oh my
it should be like my first 2 years of college shouldn't be fucking doing things I already did in high school. It should be, what do you want to do? And like you said, like all those things we talked about, finances, anything like that, that should be high school at the latest.
Right.
Yeah.
At the latest,
Right.
because it's important, and you can really
Career
fuck yourself
specific,
over.
too, in college, I felt
Yeah,
because like
yeah.
I took classes that, I'm sorry, were like so irrelevant to me that like it was ridiculous. Like, I really just did not need them at all.
Right. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could ask almost anybody and be like, well, what from high school did you learn to take with you to the real world? And like, would you say 10%, 20%, 30%, so on? You get under 20% from almost everybody.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
need most of those
Yeah.
classes. I took a
Right.
spelling
Like-
class.
Yeah,
how-
like-
it was real. I mean, like, really, it was just a
Yeah, I paid like $2,000 for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
but it was because I had to.
yeah.
It wasn't because I wanted to. It was like, it was to fill my WR, like my writing requirement, and like it was the only one that fit in my schedule block time at that like moment in time.
And that's so stupid too, because if you're not, at least for me anyway, if I'm not interested in what I'm learning, I won't retain it. Like I had a weather and climate class that again probably paid like $1,500, $200 for.
Yeah.
I can't tell you shit about the weather or climate. I don't know shit about
I took
it.
World of Turf. My last.
That sounds awful.
Oh my god, it was the worst class I ever did. I'm sorry. I mean,
What do you
maybe
learn about turf?
turf.
That's
Dead
all
ass
you learn
turf.
about?
I learned about Kentucky bluegrass. I still don't know what the fuck that is. I'm like, it was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. And like, we learned about turf and turf for baseball fields and football fields and like what season good grass is in and out. And I was like, I don't know what this has to do with my major. I don't know what this has to do with my life. Like,
Doesn't. It
I
has to
learned
do with your
about-
wallet.
I learned
Right.
about grass. And it filled an elective requirement that I needed, which, great, fine. And I only took it because it was easy. I heard it was an easy 4-point, and it fit in my schedule. So I took it. But like, how irrelevant is that class? It's a waste. I
Yeah.
wasted my money. Like,
Money, time, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think a lot of stuff now is being brought to light in the whole sense of the educational world. Like, you have people, even the college athletes now getting paid, you know, or the people that you were part of the scandal, like the enrollment scandal, wasn't it? Like they were paying.
Oh, the college admissions.
Yeah,
scandal.
admission scandal.
Oh,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Like you have things like that are getting light shed on them now.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's harder for these, you know, public universities and schools to get away with.
Things.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that it's good that it gets light shown on it because it doesn't allow the people that are in those positions to make those choices.
I mean, public
to abuse
universities in the past couple of years just have eyes on them in general with everything that's going down.
Yeah, I think that will be. There's a whole lot more conversations we could have branching from this. So I decided we are going to do 2 parts. I'm going to do one part this upcoming week and then one after that. So we're going to break real quick.
No, that's fine.
That's straight.
And then we're going to go into a different conversation, just
totally
along the same lines. But the way I always like to end the conversations is I like to ask a guest for a mental health tip. So ladies first, this episode will be yours. Next will be yours. So at the end of the next hour, I'll ask you. But Kelly,
my mental health tip.
Turning to you, anything you do to achieve good mental health. If you're having a bad day, maybe it kind of steps you off from that ledge, or you can do it consistently to make sure that you're at a good level.
I feel like I only learned it in the past year, but I stopped caring about what anyone thinks. Like, in a general sense, what anyone thinks of me, what anyone thinks of what I'm doing, what anyone thinks about my life. Like, I just started doing things to make myself happy. And I mean that in, the broadest sense. Like, if I want to wear a shirt, no matter what it looks like, no matter what I think someone might think about it, I'm going to wear it. If I wanted a piercing, I got it. No matter what it was, if I woke up and I wanted to do it, I just did it. And I didn't take any time to second guess or think about it. So I stopped second guessing and I stopped caring. That is definitely my mental health tip, because I did a lot of that in advance of this year. So that's definitely mine. Just stop doing that.
And it's helped you?
Oh my God. Yeah, he can attest to it. A year ago, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but a year ago, my hair was blonde, my room was pink, I wore, all white, and, I was not me at all. I had a whole different style going, and I did it just to appease others and, what I thought, employers wanted to see, or, what friends wanted to see, or, what the norm was, and I woke up one day and I looked in the mirror and I was like, who the fuck is that? I was like, that's not even me. I was miserable. And he remembers how I was. I was miserable. I was a miserable person. I was mean. I was not even a nice person because I was just so upset with myself. And there were so many things I want, piercings. I have so many piercings now. And I've always wanted them, but I was afraid. I was afraid of my parents, and what they were going to think. I was afraid of friends. I was afraid of employers. And I just woke up one day and I was like, I'd rather not have this job. I'd rather not have those relationships if I can't even be myself in them. And so then I just started dressing how I wanted and wearing what I wanted and doing what I wanted. And that changed my life, honestly. It was hard, though. I definitely got comments. I got DMs. I got tons.
I can imagine. There's always...
I got tons of, feedback on what I was doing. But I still think it was worth it, because the right people in my life supported me. Mm-hmm. And the people who are meant to be in my life stayed, and that showed me how judgmental certain people are and how irrelevant they were. So
that's fair.
I feel like that's the best thing I ever did for myself was stop caring, because now I know every day I wake up and I'm I'm authentically myself. And when you walk in my house, everything you see is authentically my style. And it honestly feels good living in your own skin. It really does, because I spent a long time in a different person's body. It's not fun.
So it's important to be yourself, despite what
absolutely
other people might think. All right, that's a good tip.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Everything. I really think that's everything.
Okay, I like that. Mm-hmm. And you definitely have come into your own, seems like. So.
Oh yeah.
Good. One other thing, I always forget that this is another thing I like to end with, and you'll get the same question at the end, so be thinking about it. Before we cut for this episode, what is one thing you would like to promote or recommend? It can be anything at all. Someone's done a Reese's cup, somebody's done a TV show, anything you want.
Oh my God.
It's a tough question.
That is a really hard question. Oh my God, that is the hardest question I've been asked in a long time.
That's funny. That's funny. I feel like I could always just name anything.
Right.
I can't. I feel like I consume so many things. I really don't know.
First thing that comes to mind.
I really don't know. I can't like what, a TV show or something?
Anything. It could be a TV show. It could be a book. It can be a song. It could be a company.
You're looking at me like I should just know this.
Or a restaurant.
A restaurant, right? A food.
Anything
Right.
you want.
Oh my god.
A day of the week.
A clothing brand.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you're making this so much harder. Like, I feel so on the spot.
You are on the spot.
My new favorite artist is Tupor.
Tubor?
Yeah, her name is Tupor, and she's like, she was Lil Peep's ex-girlfriend, and she is like the most authentic, like cool style. Her sound is super cool. Her like everything about her is like just the most unique. And she makes clothing. Like, she does everything. She makes clothing. She DJs. She makes music. Like, her boyfriend now is Kill Station, so she makes music with him. And like, she works with artists and designs clothes for them. And like, I don't know, she's just like the coolest thing. So like, check her out. She's sweet. Like,
it's Tubor or
her name is Tupor, literally Toopoor.
One word?
Tupor, yeah,
Two
all
words.
one word.
Okay.
She's like the coolest. I don't know. I'm like, he knows. I'm like obsessed with her.
Is it like a Lil Peep type music like that?
No, honestly, no. Like, she makes
she's kind of, I don't even know.
It's like alternative, but it's like slow. She has songs that are like rock, and she has a song that's more like kind of like Lana, Billie Eilish-esque, and she has songs that are more like piano based. Like,
okay.
She goes all over the place, and that's what's so cool about. She has one song that's like, her favorite artist is Marilyn Manson, so it like mocks Marilyn Manson almost. But then she used to be an EDM artist, so she has like DJ sets.
Sounds like she's got range.
She's everywhere. She's all over the freaking board. And like, that's what's so cool, I think, about her is like, and she said it in an interview once that like, because someone was like, well, what are you? And she's like, I'm nothing. I'm just an artist. Like, I don't define myself. Like, I'm not a DJ. I'm not like a fashion designer. I'm not like anything. I'm not a musician. I'm whatever I feel like being that day. Like, she doesn't put herself in any kind of box, and she just like does whatever she wants. And I think that that's like a really unique thing for an artist, because I feel like nowadays, like, artists put themselves in these like super definitive boxes.
Yeah.
And then they get stuck. Whereas like, she might do music one year, and then the next year she might just only do fashion. And then the next year she might be like an EDM artist again. And you just never know what she's going to do. And I think that that's cool.
That's art.
Yeah.
Well, you know I like music, so I'll have to check it out. But you also
really cool.
you also get a chance to pick a song of the week, so maybe you could.
Ooh.
I mean, it doesn't have to be her, but anyway. All right. So we're gonna keep going through, but Kelly, thank you for your mental health tip and the promotion. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, please let me know. Hit me up, text, whatever. TIMM podcast on Gmail. Wait, no, I'm fucking it up because I'm Russian. TIMM podcast is the Instagram handle, and Facebook. TIMMpod at Gmail is the email. But anyway, until next week, guys. Thank you.